What happens when an old-school enforcer meets a coach who refuses to let talent go to waste, even if it means some tough love along the way? Well, buckle up, hockey fans, because the story I'm about to share will completely change how you view player development and coaching relationships in today's NHL. Welcome back to the channel that brings you the most compelling hockey stories from around the league. I'm here with an exclusive deep dive into one of the most fascinating coach-player dynamics in Montreal. A relationship that went from rocky to rock solid, and it's all about how Martin St. Louis has transformed Arber Xhekaj from a one-dimensional fighter into a legitimate NHL defenseman. This is a masterclass in modern coaching, and you won't want to miss a single detail. Let's start with the raw numbers that tell the initial story of struggle and growth. Last season, Arber Xhekaj played a career-high 70 games. Impressive for any young player, but especially significant for someone who many viewed as just another tough guy with limited hockey skills. He finished with 1 goal, 6 points, 180 penalty minutes, and 118 minutes in penalties. That minus 13 rating, that's where the Real story begins. But here's what those statistics don't tell you. They don't capture the internal battle between a coach who saw untapped potential and a player who was still figuring out his identity in the world's best hockey league. In a revealing interview with Sportsnet's Eric Engels, the 24-year-old defenseman pulled back the curtain on what it's really like to be coached by Martin St. Louis. "He treats me like I'm his son," Xhekaj admitted, and those words carry more weight than you might initially realize. This isn't just about hockey instruction. This is about a veteran coach taking personal responsibility for molding a young man's career and character simultaneously. The relationship wasn't always smooth sailing. Anyone who followed the Canadiens closely last season witnessed St. Louis being notably direct about Xhekaj's early struggles and inconsistencies. There were moments when trade rumors swirled, when fans questioned whether the big defenseman had a future in Montreal, and when even Xhekaj himself might have wondered if he belonged in the NHL. What makes this story absolutely fascinating is how St. Louis approached the challenge of developing Xhekaj. We're talking about a coach who could have easily written off a player as just an enforcer, but instead chose to dig deeper and demand more. St. Louis saw something that others missed. A hockey player trapped inside an enforcer's reputation. "He definitely is tough on me sometimes, because he knows what I can be and do, and he wants that so badly for me," Xhekaj explained. This reveals the core of effective coaching in professional sports. It's not about being nice or being mean. It's about having a vision to see potential and the courage to push someone toward that potential, even when it's uncomfortable for everyone involved. The breakthrough came when St. Louis helped Xhekaj understand that his physical presence was an asset, not his entire identity. In a June appearance on the Missing Curfew podcast, St. Louis articulated this beautifully. "He can do so much more than fight. People call him the sheriff in Montreal. He's really good at that, but there are so many other things he's good at too." This is revolutionary thinking in hockey development. Instead of asking Xhekaj to abandon his physical style, St. Louis taught him to complement it with actual hockey skills. The coach worked specifically on helping Xhekaj learn when not to pursue hits, focusing instead on reading plays, positioning himself effectively, and defending intelligently rather than just physically. The transformation wasn't just about X's and O's or skating drills. This was about fundamentally changing how a player approaches the game mentally. St. Louis identified that Xhekaj was trying to force his physical game into every situation, feeling like he had to prove his worth through intimidation alone. When he arrived, he felt like he had to do that, but we try to remind him that it's part of the game, but you also need to play the game that's in front of you, St. Louis explained. This is coaching wisdom at its finest, acknowledging a player's strengths while expanding their toolkit. Think about what this means for player development across the league. How many talented players have been pigeonholed into limited roles because coaches didn't have the patience or vision to develop their complete skill set? St. Louis didn't just see an enforcer. He saw a 6 feet 4 inches defenseman with surprise mobility and untapped hockey intelligence. The relationship dynamic between them became the catalyst for growth. Xhekaj described it as having both tough criticism and genuine praise, creating an environment where he felt pushed but also supported. Obviously, he's going to be tough on me sometimes, and sometimes he's going to praise me. We have a really strong bond. This story represents something much larger than one player's development. It's a case study in how modern NHL coaching has evolved beyond simply managing talent to actually creating it. St. Louis took a player who many viewed as a fringe NHL talent and systematically developed him into a legitimate contributor. Consider the context. Xhekaj is entering the final year of a 2-year, $2.6 million contract. His development this season will determine not just his future in Montreal, but potentially his entire NHL career trajectory. The pressure is real, but so is the foundation that's been built. What's particularly impressive is how both player and coach have publicly acknowledged the challenges they face together. There's no sugarcoating the difficult moments or pretending the relationship was always perfect. This honesty creates a more authentic development environment where real growth can occur. The impact extends beyond individual success. Other young players in the Montreal system are watching this relationship and learning that tough coaching comes from a place of caring, not criticism. They're seeing that coaches who demand more from you often believe more in you than coaches who accept mediocrity. As we head into the 2025-26 season, this relationship serves as a model for player development throughout the league. Xhekaj has credited St. Louis with teaching him lessons both on and off the ice, while St. Louis has reiterated that his demanding approach aims to transform the young defenseman into a truly reliable player. The trade rumors have subsided. The early season struggles are history. What remains is a coach-player relationship built on mutual respect, clear communication, and shared commitment to excellence. This is how championship cultures are built, one relationship at a time. The Xhekaj St. Louis story reminds us that the best coaching relationships aren't always the easiest ones. Sometimes growth requires discomfort. Development demands honesty, and reaching your potential means having someone who cares enough to push you beyond your comfort zone. This transformation from enforcer to defenseman, from questioned prospect to valued contributor, didn't happen by accident. It happened because a coach saw potential where others saw limitations, and a player trusted the process even when it was challenging. What do you think about St. Louis's coaching approach with Xhekaj? Have you seen similar transformations in sports that inspired you? Share your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing your perspectives on player development stories like this. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of hockey's most interesting coach-player relationships, hit that like button and subscribe for more exclusive NHL content that goes beyond the highlights to tell the real stories behind the game.